Hello, I hope to be an end-time survivor. I'm trying to listen and learn so that I can live during the last days. I recently watched a movie called The Day the Earth Stood Still. It came out in 2008 and it's a remake of a movie that originally came out in the 1950s. I was deeply impressed by this movie for several reasons. Many movies about aliens focus on the dilemma of whether to treat aliens as enemies or whether to perhaps naively treat them as friends. And there's strong arguments for both approaches, and it makes for some very interesting plots in movies. The Day the Earth Stood Still was unique, however, in that it showed both aspects in the same aliens. They are a highly developed species who can see the bigger picture. They want to save the world, but they also see that in order to do that, they may need to destroy the human race because of what people are doing to the planet. They delay making this decision for as long as they can, but eventually they have to make their move. To me, this is a wonderful picture of one aspect of the revelation. You have a loving God who comes back to destroy those who destroy the earth. Not because he's cruel or hateful, but because he sees things in terms of the bigger picture. The way it was put in The Day the Earth Stood Still is something like this. If we destroy you humans, we may at least save the earth.
If the earth dies, you die. If you die, the earth survives.
What viewers see in these aliens are restrained, caring creatures who also see a need to exercise discipline. It's really a much better portrayal of these kinds of creatures than what you normally see in Hollywood movies, with your heroic goodies and your terrible baddies. The movie also dealt with, though somewhat superficially, the issue of whether humans are capable of change, and if so, what are the changes that are needed. The credibility of the movie unfortunately fell apart when it came to the producers providing this happy ending that the audience so craves. But the observation of an alien in the movie who stayed on the earth for 60 years studying our civilization is much more believable.
规劝都是没用的，他们具有毁灭性，又不肯改变。
He notes that the human race in general is not willing to make the kind of changes that are needed, and that mankind will go to its grave supporting the status quo rather than make the huge changes that are needed to save the planet. It seems that one of the compromises that this movie made to make it to the box office, other than the shallow happy ending, was to not get too specific about what exactly the changes are that are needed to save the planet. So I'm going to go into that a little bit here. At the moment, about half the world still lives a basic, simple lifestyle, often centred around a village economy. It's not luxurious, and they do without many things, but it is doable. Much of what they eat and what they wear and what they use is grown and produced by themselves or by others in their village. This is precisely the kind of lifestyle that is needed to virtually eliminate the carbon footprint that's crushing the rest of the world. But it's an inconvenient truth that even people like Al Gore do not want to confront with their obscenely indulgent lifestyles. So we go on telling ourselves that one day our governments will come up with some cost-free solutions. In the meantime, we can go on living our lives as normal, perhaps substituting cloth shopping bags for plastic ones as our contribution to save the world. But anyone with the tiniest bit of sense can see that it's going to take a lot more than that to save the planet. One final positive observation about The Day the Earth Stood Still is that it appears to include a reference to the Revelation, when the storyline calls for great hordes of metallic locusts that devour metal and everything else in their paths as the instrument that the aliens use to judge the human race. Check out Revelation chapter 9, verses 7 to 9 for a description of these creatures. As I observed this metallic insect army consuming a whole semi-trailer in just a few seconds, It became clear to me that this is precisely the kind of change that we need to do in order to save the human race and to save the planet. We need to learn to live without the trucks, without the football stadiums, without the skyscrapers, if we're going to have any chance of saving the planet. And yet it's so hard to get anyone to stand still long enough to hear this message. You can help us get this message out to the masses by subscribing to this channel today. It costs nothing, it's not much effort, but it does help to bring others to this channel to hear the message. If you feel this video has helped you to see things in a new way, then please click on the link on the description of this video and leave a comment. Thank you.